men to the age of 30 should be able to walk into any room and know that if got real, they could either kill and eat everybody or outrun them.
If you buy your kid a property when they're real young, so I bought Rosie, my daughter, the week she was born, I bought her a fourplex.
People look at me as soon as I walk in and they're like, who is this guy? I look like I'm going to hurt somebody.
So today's video is going to be a little bit different than the usual, and I think we're going to have some fun. We're going to be looking at podcasters and the ridiculous things that they say online for clicks and attention. Tons of these people are apparently millionaires and billionaires even though they don't back it up, and they want to give you the secret, some obscure advice, which most of the time just funnels into a course you have to buy, or they just want you to keep listening episode after episode as they rake in all of the in-video sponsor ads, keeping that watch time up and their money flowing in. There is some truth to the comments online saying podcasting equipment should be much more expensive, because with a few $100s and a laptop you could be spewing misinformation to the masses in no time, and that's exactly what we're going to see today. We have a lot of different clips along with some comments from you guys from previous videos, so if you want to be featured in a future video, leave it in the comments down below, but I'll show you a couple of them so you could get the gist of what we're about to see in this one.
If you buy your kid a property when they're real young, so I bought Rosie, my daughter, the week she was born, I bought her a fourplex.
If you're single and you want a dating life, but you're also trying to make money, bring your first dates to business stuff.
How much money do you make right now per year? She stood up and she said $50,000 a year. He asked the lady, he says, okay, so what would make you not want to invest in this? And she says, well, I don't have the money. And he said, you probably don't have the money because you've been paying a really expensive bill every single year. And she's like, what do you mean? He's like, well, right now, you've been paying $950,000 a year, not knowing how to make $1 million.
Right off the bat, I want to say I like that there's a new trend of videos just making fun of all of these clips, like they're the crew recording these influencers and just walking away every time they say something stupid. But if you want to use that last example, losing $950,000 every year because you don't have this information, why stop there? Myself and everybody watching this video should have just become professional athletes. How much money do players in the NBA or MLB make? Duh, we should have just learned how to be the best athlete in those sports. Could have been making hundreds of millions of dollars over our career, way more than just the $950,000 lost. So we could take a look at the comments from these clips from the guy who apparently bought his daughter a property as soon as she was born. He's actually right. I bought my own fourplex the moment I was conceived. The second one with Ty Lopez, which is just a classic grifter, has been on YouTube for years now. What the hell is business stuff? You know, it could really mean anything. They're just saying anything at this point just for attention. We had our first date at a business lunch, got engaged at a staff meeting, and got married at a networking seminar. And the last one, microphone licenses now. Here we have the potential $900,000+ lost because you didn't have this info. Let me guess, you need to buy his seminars to figure it out. And then the creator responds, just sign up to the school platform for $99 a month. Finance bros probably think that what he said is genius. It's all ways to get attention now, especially if you're talking about anything money related or business. It's always funneled into some course or Discord group, mentorship. There's a million different names they try to call it, but it all ends up being the same thing. You are the product. You are the one making them money, whether it be through paying for their courses or giving them your attention and watch time. Here we could see some of the lowest IQ podcast moments.
We prioritize aura above everything else. Like if you can make some money but lose some aura, never do that. If you're playing the long game in life, just put aura at the center of everything, and everything you do, ask yourself, will this negatively or positively impact my aura? And you think about the compounding returns.
People look at me as soon as I walk in and they're like, who is this guy? I look like I'm going to hurt somebody. I don't look like I walk into a place and I'm just coming to have a good time, or I'm coming to eat lunch. When I walk in, it's like I'm literally going to hurt somebody.
The first time I ever went over to the moon, at that point, I'd only ever remote viewed on planet. I never even thought of going off planet to remote view. But then this Pleiadian being came into my room and said, there's a meeting in 2 days time and I want to take you to this meeting. And I said, okay, like I'm down. And I followed him with my astral body. Like, okay, where are we going? And so we're like, literally he's traveling off planet, off planet, off planet. I'm like, oh my God, we're leaving the planet? This is even possible?
Should we use air conditioner in the summer? Ideally not. You can do simple tips like grabbing a piece of cabbage, like a leaf of cabbage, putting it on your head with the hat. That will automatically cool your head. You can grab wrapped cold water, like a cloth, rinse it out, put it on your head, put it on your neck.
So what I'm telling you is when that helicopter goes up to 20,000 feet and it's sitting there hovering for 4 hours, not only does it have to spin 1,000 miles an hour, it has to spin more than 1,000 miles an hour to go back to the same spot that it landed.
I know some of this stuff becomes so ridiculous that they have to be doing it on purpose for that attention. Who needs an air conditioner when you have cabbage? I never thought I'd say that sentence in my life, but in the age of short form social media, clip after clip just being thrown in our faces, this is what elevates the watch time now. Saying stuff that's so ridiculous, just completely false, trying to get people to watch and follow just a little bit more, especially when it's in the business, finance, bro, alpha male type of sphere. It is just a complete mess.
My daughter said this, Dad, how much would college cost? And I go, I don't know, 25 to 50 grand a year with housing and everything, maybe more. And she's like, why don't people put that into equities and crypto?
I've been a billionaire 1,000 times over. I'm a trillionaire in my mind palace.
What does a day in a life look like for you? So I wake up every day at 2:45.
Under the age of 30 should be able to walk into any room and know that if it got real, they could either kill and eat everybody or outrun them.
I love the reactions from this for how ridiculous these clips are. Just some of the comments. Scott Galloway is one of the biggest frauds. Podcast equipment and licenses should be handed out to the right people. I think especially around the business sphere, they're really trying to get kids who are just getting into the real world, anywhere from like 16 to 20 years old, not too much experience yet other than just going to school every single year, not exactly knowing what to do and having too much financial knowledge, and you have somebody who's a bit older than you and has a podcast and is a fancy speaker and has nice clean edits in the video and has a following on social media, they'll end up believing what this guy says, following them as well, which again in turn funnels them into some sort of course or class or mentorship, Discord group, whatever they're trying to sell at the end of the day. A kid who has a part-time job not making too much money wants what this person online is showing, and they'll pay that $9.95 for a course to be exactly like them. Unfortunately, at the end of the day, none of these courses will actually do what these kids want, and then you're just out $1,000 and making these people richer. We have a comment from one of you guys, 19-year-old millionaire. I find that hard to believe. It sounds like they're all selling BS courses and MLMs to make that money. And now with everybody one-upping each other for these clips and attention, millionaires aren't even good enough now. You have to be the youngest billionaire, apparently.
The youngest billionaire in the world right now.
What's your net worth now?
I can explain this in a way that might sound crazy. I'm a billionaire. Let's think about it. Does a billionaire have a liquid $1 billion in his bank account?
No.
Okay, so is he actually a billionaire? No. Like liquid billionaire? No, I'm not a liquid billionaire yet. Probably will be mathematically soon. But I'm a billionaire because, number one, let's just say I can make 500 to $1 million a month. That's like 12 mil a year. You do like a money calculator since it's like a hedge fund style thing. And we're already in the hundreds of millions. And then other businesses. I'm a Web3 wealth manager now. Like I own a hedge fund and manage money for people. If I went today and was like, I have this huge opportunity, everyone give me $500,000 that can afford. Probably could raise about $50 to $100 million right there. So as far as the money calculator thing, my net worth is above $1 billion, hopefully $1 trillion soon.
People will just say absolutely anything online, making stuff up, word salads, which end up contradicting themselves, saying that he was a billionaire at the start, but he's not actually a billionaire. I bet nowhere close if we actually looked at his financials. Some of the comments here, he just explained how he's not a billionaire. Bro might have 30,000 in the bank tops. If everyone in the world gave me $1, I'd be a billionaire, so I'm a billionaire. That's basically what the guy said in the entire clip right there. I'm the youngest billionaire. I'm actually not a billionaire. Bro has absolutely no idea what he's talking about. Billionaire through delusion, but this clip has definitely made the rounds on social media, so at the end of the day, it still works for these people. They get the clicks and maybe the monetization on any of the ad revenue through the videos, on top of anybody naive enough to believe this, and you have to know that he has some sort of course on wealth building, and that also brings in a ton of revenue for him. Another comment from one of you guys, from our young people out there, you never need to buy a course to learn how to make money. These influencers are scammers and frauds. One of the big ones that I believe is starting to die out because we're realizing how difficult it is to just buy real estate in general, a single family home for yourself on average being over $400,000 in the US. The easy days of buying a duplex or a triplex, living in one of them and being able to rent it out and just raking in the cash has become much more difficult. So these type of grifters selling you a dream is starting to dwindle, I'm seeing at least.
Go buy $1 million residential property that costs you 10 grand a year, or you could go buy $1 million commercial property that gives you 30, 35 grand a year passive income, and you could use that to rent the rest of your life.
Hi, I'd like to purchase the the $1 million commercial property for the passive income and become debt free and 30,000 a month for the rest of my life. Where do can I sign? I need money for that. Okay, so where do I get the money for that? My parents, they have to be rich. Okay.
The comments of this clip is similar to what I said about all of us just becoming professional athletes and making hundreds of millions of dollars a year. Why not buy a $5 million property and make $300K a year? All of these podcasters make it seem like it's so easy to start making passive income, tons of money doing nothing, which if they're not straight up just 100% lying to you, they have a ton of money to back it up. Like he said, the parents, some sort of trust fund baby where you could buy a $5 million rental property, because for a vast majority of the people, nobody has anywhere near that kind of income to be able to put it in and make passive income. Buy $1 million property, use that as collateral to buy a $5 million property. Repeat until you own the earth. Don't understand why everyone doesn't do this. Step 1, have $1 million. Yeah, that's what I was saying. I went with the $1 billion property that gives me $30 million a year and skipped all those boring middle steps. In the same vein of everybody having to one-up each other in these clips to be able to go viral compared to all of the other gurus, we have somebody like this who I guess is just going to try to own every company in the world as well.
What's your goal? Do you want 10 times what you have?
I want to own 10,000 companies. I own 400 right now.
Why not 20,000 companies? You ever think about that? Why not own 55,000 companies? Okay, because if you own 55,000 companies, that's more than 10,000 companies. Is this guy dumb? He's not thinking. In fact, I would say just buy every company that exists on planet Earth, and then you own all the companies. So why stop at 10,000?
Just skip the companies and buy a bunch of money. But you have to ask yourself, why stop at just the companies on Earth? These comments are great. You buy companies? Brother, let's get real. I buy entities. It's time to buy concepts. I own Negative Zone and the Upside Down. I'm projected to own Sadness and Despair by the end of 2036. No matter how much fun we're making of these people, somebody out there is believing exactly what they're saying and throwing them hundreds and thousands of dollars to try to become like them, and it just puts you on a fast track to going broke. Another comment from one of you guys: word of advice, never listen to anyone who calls themselves influencers. I got rid of all of my social media. Best thing I ever did for my mental health, life, and relationships. As odd as it sounds for somebody who makes YouTube videos and has been doing it for 15 years now, I actually don't use social media as much as you probably think. Before I started making these videos, I did not go on TikTok at all. The only thing that was really consistent was, of course, watching YouTube videos, but sitting on them all day long. Twitter, or X, I guess now, Instagram, Facebook, and then YouTube and TikTok. You're just inundated with so many clips, so much information 24/7. It really does take a toll on your mental health and especially your decision making, because whether you like it or not, you are being influenced all the time.
Why do you pay so much for a gym membership here?
Let me answer that question by saying this. When you gas up your car, do you put the cheapest gas or the gas that's going to let you run your car for 10, 15, 20 years? I buy the most expensive gas, which is Equinox.
Could you imagine being a tryhard at life just 24/7? It would be exhausting. If you don't know what Equinox is, it is the rich people gym where they pay way too much money, and this guy's trying to justify it as if it's premium gas compared to unleaded. I would venture to guess if you are going to a gym that costs a crazy amount of money, you would have very good equipment. However, I don't think your life expectancy is going to be that much greater compared to just going to a gym that's $30 or $40, even $50 a month. As I just Googled it, Equinox memberships cost vary based on location and access level, anywhere from $200 to $400 a month, with higher tiers granting access to more clubs, so could possibly get even more expensive. He's really just saying things for the sake of saying something. The comments here, I put the cheapest gas. I bet bro put 93 octane in his Prius. Well, the cheapest gas is in fact the gas that runs my car. He gets premium air for his tires as well, I'm guessing. A dumbbell weighs the same anywhere you go. Even though we've been talking about the business and money-making type of world when it comes to these clips, relationships is a huge topic as well and can really affect your life if you start taking this to heart.
I'll eat them for breakfast. I mean, I'll finish them off in 24 hours. I also need someone to handle me. And only an alpha or a double alpha can do that.
A man with an average income of like $60,000 to $90,000 can't barely provide for himself. He shouldn't be in a relationship.
I feel for anybody who is watching this and actually believing it. It's so disempowering and brutal and stupid. My wife met me when I was broke. Not even broke. I think I was $25,000 in debt. And if I believed this garbage, I wouldn't have even talked to her. I would have had such a lack of confidence. And it's just not true, you guys.
But let's say if you're a 16-year-old kid who scrolls TikTok all day, most likely you haven't been in that many relationships, as we're seeing from all these statistics. More and more people are staying single for a long time, if not their entire life. You see this kind of garbage when you're scrolling about to go into college. You don't know what the real world is like, so you think that this is what's going to happen to you. And if you're not making at least 6 figures, you shouldn't even have the thought of being in a relationship. It really is like a mental poison if you don't know that these clips are just trying to grab your attention, especially emotionally. Now, this next clip I've seen all over the place, and this is exactly the type of person who's a little bit older than the 16 to 20-year-old crowd with not a lot of real world experience, especially when it comes to money. And this guy could just spew off tons of numbers not actually making any sense, but I guarantee he could still get the younger crowd to actually believe what he's saying and follow him.
If I go broke today, I can make $1 million next week.
How would you go about making $1 million if you went broke next week?
I mean, I have a 200,000 person wait list to join Capital Club. I have about a 20% conversion rate. So I have 20,000 people already there. All I would have to do is send a message and be like, I'm doing an event in Miami, yacht day, 50% margins, sell 50 tickets at $1,000. I already have 25 grand in the bank account. 25 grand runs me 3 months. I can have enough cash flow to be able to set up a business plan. All it takes is strategy and planning. It's very simple. It's doing the same thing of what's already worked.
So at that point, he wouldn't be able to make $1 million in a week. And the conversion rate of 20% on his, I guess, 200,000 person wait list is not 20,000, it's 40,000. So he's not even thinking of what he's saying. It's just coming out of his mouth. The comments definitely called it out too. Somehow $1 million next week turned into $25,000. 20% of 200,000 is not 20,000. Bro does not have a 200,000 person wait list. This is another one of his mentor groups, being a part of his tribe, his clan, whatever they want to call it. Highly doubt he has hundreds of thousands of people just waiting to get in. First step is to grift 20,000 idiots. Running his mouth with buzzwords. We could really be talking about anybody in this video, and another podcast equipment needs to be more expensive. But we're going to end off this video with a simple, straightforward message that I wish more people saw compared to any of these ridiculous clips.
Nobody making 100K a month will be begging you to teach you how to make 100K a month. Just know that your registration fee is their source of income.
It's really as simple as that, along with a comment from you guys. No one sells a gold mine until it's tapped out. All of these people trying to sell you a dream, even if they legitimately did it in the past, means that it's not nearly as lucrative compared to when they were making money. And that's on the off chance that they legitimately practice what they preach. Most of the time, they just regurgitate a whole bunch of stuff that they heard somebody else talk about online, and they claim to be an expert in the field. They gain a following online. Of course, they have to start a podcast, and just shoveling all of these crappy clips out onto social media. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. YouTube thinks you'll like this video popping up on screen right now, but hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, and I'll talk to you guys later.